Welcome, Ward 9, and I'm here again. My second reason why I wanted to get elected, and I want you to be happy with what I'm doing and try to make that all happen within the next 2 years. Annexation benefits is one of the things that I'm looking at as to what can we do for Lambeth and certainly some of the other areas in town that we can take advantage and give you the advantage. Over 20 years, you're still waiting for your sewers, and now we're even fighting over whether we're going to get our LTC and get the bus routes there, and I think that's very, very important, and I think that's going to still stay there from my standpoint. So I'm looking again at sewers. How can we, this year, hopefully, see if we can get sewers to you in Lambeth if needed? And what I have to know is, are you interested? And let me know that you want to increase that, because we can certainly push to have sewers out there if you're interested in doing that. Buses, of course, we've just voted as of yesterday to see if we make sure that those buses still stay in Byron and in Lambeth, and of course also in River Bend. And the growth in the areas, things are happening, certainly the development's happening all around, and we moved that up probably 5 years to try to create some jobs and to have a whole bunch of taxes showing up, so to keep our taxes low. And other things are happening which you may not know about. For example, the Optimist Park there in Lambeth, we're going to have that double the size. That's been planned. We've talked to the different builders, and they're prepared to go along with that. So that's good news. We've, of course, just finished the skate park in Byron, and that's very successful. That got up fairly quickly. We had good dialogue, and I think that's another positive thing that's happening out in Lambeth way. And we're looking now, like a hockey arena is what I'm looking at right now. And I think I know how to get it covered for the cost of it. And we just have to find out where and who might donate some property and to what extent we get some ground swell of interest, both in Ward 9, to see if we can make that happen in the next year. There's some other areas that we're looking at to see if we can make the whole city grow better. And one thing is that I'm worried about and would like to see is the Ring Road. That was shut down, I guess, 20 years ago when we had federal and provincial money around, and now we're in a maze situation. We've got a traffic situation that's in North London that's becoming just an unbelievable maze. That if we don't do something, they're building new divisions just north of the city, and we've got serious amounts of people all heading north. And they've got it now, even the farmers up there have to go somewhere south to get to the 401, 402 to try to get their products to market. And so now we're having a big situation happening that is going to just kill a lot of our traffic problems from the point of view of how are we going to move. And now is the time, the last opportunity that we can do now to fix this traffic problem by figuring out and how we do a ring road. And I think it's now possible to do a ring road. They floated the idea a couple of years back. We'll put it right down the 6th concession because that was in London. And that didn't go. Of course, that was a lousy idea. Of course, the builders were saying, happy, let's hurry and see if we can put some more houses there. But on the other hand, where are the people going to drive? And of course, other people say, well, let's have some LCC, we'll have some buses there. But that's not the answer. We have to have good roads, and we have to have more roads in North London. So my thought is to finish up the north part of the Ring Road, going from the airport or 40 Veterans Memorial right over to 402, and maybe even help the province, because they wanted to build a road from the 402 going to Sarnia, or going to Kitchener and going up to up north. So I think now's the time to take a look at it. So I think the way we have to take a look at that is we've already seen what's happened with out in the county. We've talked to them. They wanted to have sewers, and we didn't give them the permission to have sewers, so now they have to build their own sewage system, and that's going to go into Medway Creek, which is not a place to be dumping sewers, and they don't even have the water enough there, but they'll probably pop that into Fanshawe Lake and Fanshawe Dam area, or Fanshawe. I don't want to see that. So I think we've got to now communicate with the county, and I've had 5 meetings now trying with the mayor to see what can we do to maybe set up an area where we could have our ring road, and they don't even want to talk about that at all, because they would never even consider that, or they would never get elected again. So I think it's now time to start having annexation talks. And isn't this interesting? If we could do a win-win-win-win annexation, which means that anyone north of the city, maybe almost up to Ilderton, and say, guess what? We're going to give you a tax deduction if you come and join London. Wouldn't that be interesting? But we also will give you the sewers, so you don't have to build your own sewage system. We'll connect you to London. Well, now that's going to be helpful. But by the way, somewhere between the 6th and 9th concession, let's put a road in there. We'll quietly decide where that road would go, so we don't have all the property values go to the moon. We'll decide where would that go to finish up our ring road. We'll get some federal, provincial money as well. But I mean, we're going to have to do it someday anyways, or we're just going to have Fanshawe Road four or six lanes wide. And I think it's possible to go between the different concessions and put it through back in the farmland. And by the way, wouldn't that be interesting? And even with that, another thing has just surfaced. I was talking to the CPR president, and I said, well, maybe there's something we can do with the CPR. Maybe they would want to move their line, the CPR rail line, North London, which is stopped all the time in London, with our taxpayers saying we have to stop, we have to have another fire truck on the other side of the CPR in order to get emergencies. If we could stop the rail line going through London and move it up 3 concessions and put that along the road, wouldn't that be exciting? Now we've got a whole North London that could be either for transit, or we could have that road. I mean, going from Richmond Street, we'd have a 4-lane road going to Toronto, for heaven's sake. If we wanted to, we've got the land. We could have that, bike lanes. There's a whole bunch of things that could happen to stop the traffic in North London by thinking this way or thinking outside the box. So the important thing is we even got the VP of CP coming down next week, for heaven's sake, to talk about this. And I think that I would like to add to the party that doesn't want to talk about that, I want to get a bud car running on the CP line or the VIA line going to Toronto every hour and a half. Why couldn't we do that? There's bud cars out in East Canada sitting there empty, for heaven's sake. Let's do some things where you've got a different situation to get people into train, into ways of getting to Toronto, other than they're cutting down the VIA rail lines now, and we're going to have less and less traffic unless we start thinking outside the box and trying to figure out how we can do this. So I think I think annexation, I suggest that to Joe. Let's start talking about annexation, because I think we can have a win-win deal. We do it quickly, and then with annexation, we don't have to have a fight as to where the road will go. The City of London will decide where it goes, and of course, if we give a tax receipt for anyone coming to the city or reduction, they'd be happy, and certainly we might end up with $100 million for the City of London to say, gee, maybe we've got some economic development that we could do based on the new funding because of annexation. So I think that's an opportunity I'd like to surface, or I'd like to put out there, and we'll see what type of excitement happens. Just trying to have ways of trying to solve our problems without always going to the taxpayer saying, give me more and more, give me more and more money. But by the way, there's maybe some business. There may be some transportation issues. There may be some reason where the federal government would come in and say, gee, why not? It'd be better to put the road, the rail line just north of the city, maybe even south of the city. There's ways of doing this. But let's start talking about it and start having the ways we can solve problems and get this traffic solved now. So for the next 20 years, we don't have to be complaining all the time that it's taking us too long to get across town. So let's take a look at some opportunities, and I hope I can make some of these things happen for the benefit of London in the next while. Thanks for listening.